Welcome to this bonus edition of the Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka, where we've compiled our favorite segments from season 2. You can reach us at Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playing Podcast, and also on Twitter at stop_playing pod. Remember to keep your chips on the plate, no double dipping unless it's the podcast, and make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Stop playing.
Okay, real quick hit. This is a circular story back to one of our Bill Cosby. You actually sent me this, and then I dug into it a little bit. So Mr. Bill Cosby is in prison, okay? He's in prison. One of the first stories we heard about him in prison was that he was just running around doing Fat Albert, like, vocal impersonations, which, it's kind of one of those things like, okay, is he losing it? Yeah, is he losing it? I mean, he's in prison, getting old. Okay, maybe this is just like, he's broken. Well, apparently the article I read was that he's actually adopted to life in prison. He has a couple of inmates that serve as sort of his helpers because he's legally blind. So I don't know if this is something they volunteered for or if this is like their little role. Maybe they work sort of a medical situation while they're there. But he has people that help him. He also people go to him. He talks to people. It also said that people believe that his wife, Camille, had completely distanced herself from him. That's not true. She has not gone to see him, but that was a mutually agreed upon arrangement. That's what the article I read said. He didn't want her to come see him in prison. However, he talks to her 3 times a day, is what the article I said saw. He gets an allotment of, I want to say it's like somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes per phone call. And he calls her 3 times a day and she picks up that phone and they talk. So she knows how he's doing. She knows what's going on. Apparently, fans, even though Bill Cosby has all the money in the whole world, fans send him money for his commissary.
But ain't that what we do? We give celebrities like lifetime Popeyes. Like, why do we give people with money free shit all the time?
People send him money for his commissary. In the article I read, like, his commissary is like bursting. Excuse me. And fans send money. I guess he needs like medicine and stuff for his prescription. People do it.
Stop playing.
So the White House announces that this year, coming up in 2020, the G7 is going to be at Doral, which is another property of 45. It's less known than Mar-a-Lago. He goes to Mar-a-Lago all the time. But Doral is in the same ilk. It's one of his properties. So this is completely on its face a conflict of interest and illegal. I mean, in the Constitution, there's a Monuments Act. You cannot accept favors from like foreign nations and steer business to your own personal interests as the president. It's there. So Mick Mulvaney's press conference was designed to specifically address this, announce it, and then address it to the media. Basically, like, look, we're having it here. This is why. Sham, I watched this thing from beginning to end. I didn't even know it was coming on. I think it was a surprise announcement. First of all, the White House briefing room has cobwebs in it.
Right.
So, like, none of the networks were expecting it because there have been no more press briefings, as we've talked about. So when they got like a surprise announcement that he was going to come out and announce this and take questions. He comes out there. He's complete. I mean, you would have thought like he took a couple shots before he came out there. Comes out there completely 0 to 100. He's fast paced. He's answering questions. They're peppering him like, this is ridiculous. He's getting more mad. He's getting indignant. Like, as the press conference goes along, I'm watching it. Like, he's like, listen, we got a list. There were plenty of resorts around the country. And you and I talked about it before the show. The White House's position is that in the entire country, in America, this is the best resort.
What?
When somebody said the best, the resort's losing money. I was telling Sham this joke before the show. One of the CNN correspondents was like, okay, I mean, if the list was my basement, the YMCA, and Doral, then I guess Doral would be the best place.
Clearly, Doral's the best place. You know what? You're right. Okay.
That was great.
Never mind, like, all of the wonderful resorts we have around this country that aren't Trump associated. Shit. Disneyland would have been better than this.
Disneyland, Six Flags.
Six Flags.
It would have been better.
Like, what are you doing?
So
all those resorts in Hawaii? Come on, man.
Stop playing.
Sham, two things. Number one, first and foremost, he's 25 and his friend is 25. I've never felt older in my life than hanging around 25-year-old guys.
Now, before you go on, I'd like to mention that when you told me the story that you're about to tell our listeners, that I immediately thought, based on this story, that they were like 19, 20.
Correct.
So that gives you all a little bit of perspective.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you guys the very short version of the story. The short version of the story is this. They arrived in D.C. from a road trip from South Carolina yesterday, Friday, the 11th, around 7 p.m. Their plan was to arrive here, put their bags down. They're staying with me and then go out. So that happens. Now, they, at some point during the night, they separate. One friend returns. The friend returns. My cousin does not. Okay? In the middle of the night. The only reason I was still up, because I was entertaining thoughts of like watching the Nationals game, and we'll get to that later, but it ended very late, watching the Nationals game and then catching up with them. The only reason I didn't do that was because every time I tried to reach them and say, where are you, where are you, where are you? They were at a different place, which they're 25. So they're just moving around. And I was like, they're moving around too much. But they kept answering me. So I thought, they're okay. They're answering me, or he. The friend comes back. My cousin doesn't. I'm asking where he is. He doesn't know.
What time of day was this?
Around 3 a.m.
Okay.
So a couple of thoughts are going through my head right now. This cousin's mother is more like a big sister to me than a cousin. She just is. So I now have to explain to her where her son is, who, for lack of, she's entrusted to me. Now, he's a grown man. So there's that. Then call after that, after my mother's birthday, in which I was a very good son this year. You know, she was very impressed with some of the stunts I pulled. I have to explain to her why, you know, our little cousin is out like in the middle of nowhere or whatever, unaccounted for. So I made both those calls this morning. I felt very grown making those calls because it took a lot to explain the situation. I could laugh about it now because he been found. He came home.
At what time?
11
a.m.
a.m. talking about I lost my phone.
For 8 hours.
Unaccounted for.
8 unaccounted?
Unaccounted for. Okay. All kinds of stories are in my head. But anyway, just as cool as a cucumber. Hey, I lost my phone. What? Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, Sham, so I say all this to say that we'll put a bow and then we'll go to our stories. I'm nowhere near ready to have a child because this is a grown man who's my younger cousin who, like, okay, I love dearly, but I feel responsible for in like a weekend of a trip. And I'm flipping out that he's like, you know, living his little best life or whatever. The worrying I was doing, I mean, his friend came back without him and didn't know where he was, and his friend was worried. So I was like, all right, man, I guess we got to like start calling the cops, like doing whatever. Whatever. So the point being, I'm not ready to have a child. Like, because a child, multiply that by like 10,000. Like, his mother was flipping out. She called me this morning before he got home. So, and what was I going to say? I mean, I could have lied and been like, oh yeah, he's right here. But then it's like, oh, he's asleep. But then it's like, well, what if I don't find him? Then what? How am I going to explain that later? So no, that wasn't even a thought. So whatever. But so as old as I felt before that happened, I felt 10 times older after that happened, I guess is my point.
Stop playing.
While we are talking about colleges, we might as well go ahead and wrap up. Well, not even wrap up, because this thing is going to be ongoing. Yes. The college admission scandal with some of our favorite celebrities.
Yes. So guys, full disclosure, when we did our outline, because, you know, we do pre-production meetings and outlines now, guys. We're very sophisticated. And I thought this story was fully wrapped up. And we both, well, I don't know if Sham did, but I did. So we were adding bullets, and in the middle of the week, I said, oh, this story's wrapped up. Yeah, well, I read about Felicity Huffman's guilty plea. So would you like to lay out the story for all this, please? Because you're the better layer outer.
Layer outer.
Yes. Layer outer.
The quicker picker upper. I'm basically Aunt Becky, Lori Loughlin. Mm-hmm. Look, first of all, Felicity Huffman is like, I
need this over with.
Act like I'm not even going to sit here and act like I didn't do anything wrong.
I did it.
I did it. Took this plea. Look, you ain't hear a peep from Felicity Huffman all week. But
actually, real quick, I apologize. Felicity Huffman did put out a statement, and it was a very good mea culpa. Basically, like, I did it, and I'm sorry I did it.
Basically, and that's what I'm saying. Like, outside of that, you ain't heard a peep about it.
Oh, nah. She got low profile. Yeah, give me in and out. I'm
done. Meanwhile, Lori Loughlin and Becky is out here just acting like she about to get a slap on the wrist. You know who she acting like?
Her daughter.
Remember? No. She acted like her daughter. She get it from her mama. But remember when we did the story about Stephen Cohen? No, not Stephen Cohen.
Yeah, Michael Cohen.
Michael Cohen. And your boy just
in
the courtroom and walked in there on air like, shoot, I'm not getting sentenced. No. And that's why you acting this week. Came in there with the wind machine, hair blowing, sunglasses on, her high heels. She had a Sasha Fierce moment. Right. Had a Sasha Fierce moment walking into the courtroom and walked out signing autographs. Like, do you realize the gravity of what's happening? What are you doing?
She was signing. Listen, I did not know that Aunt Becky was wilding like this. I did not know that. I thought her and Felicity Huffman were in the same camp. Like, Felicity Huffman, to your point, as soon as they caught her, she was like, all right, yep, I did it. What I got to do, she went to the authorities. They mapped out a nice little plea agreement. She made a little statement saying how wrong it was. She said, look, I was wrong. I should not have tried to do this. I'm sorry. Whatever. Okay. Give me my plea deal. Let me go about my business. Aunt Becky is out of control. They offered every parent involved with this a plea deal. And they told them, they said, listen, this is we're trying to be nice plea deal. We got y'all dead to rights, all of y'all. We know exactly what y'all were doing. We weren't really coming after y'all. That's what y'all should be worried about. The fact that we just happened to catch y'all. We were really after the mastermind of the scheme, and y'all just happened to come in and out. So we have all your texts. We have all your communication with them. Like, we have all this. We're just after him. But y'all need to go ahead and roll over before we roll these extra charges on y'all. That's the speech they gave to Felicity Huffman, and she was like, cool. And Becky was like, excuse me, I'm not going to jail. Was defiant, like, get out my face. Maybe if y'all charge me a fine, I might pay that. Like, otherwise, get out my face. I'm not going to jail. When's the next court date? Sham, they said not only did this woman go to court, did all the stuff you would talk about, walked down that thing like the red carpet, like she was at the Oscars. She walked into the courtroom, walked across the aisle, shook the prosecutor's hand, talking about, my name is Lori Loughlin. Like, nice to meet you. Like, what does she think this is? What exactly does she think is going on right now? Like, Aunt Becky is out of control.
Set of Fuller House.
Yeah, you could catch me on Hallmark and Fuller House up until like last week, because I think they just dropped me. But I mean, whatever. Like, I'm gonna get out of this, and then we'll work that out. Then you can see some of my movies. Like, what are you doing? And we were wondering, I love the fact that we found out about this after we talked about her daughter. Yeah, her daughter, like you said, she get it from her mama. Yeah. Her daughter out here still. She released a video yesterday, another one, talk about how sorry. Now she finally is like, yo, I'm sorry for everyone who's affected by this. But she still releasing videos. Her daughter's like, I still need my bag.
Oh, she about this IG life. She don't care.
She don't care about this. But she trying to distance herself from her parents. Like, look, man, they just need to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sorry that this affected everybody.
But Aunt Becky's out of control. Like the feds are like, they're targeting her now because they're like, she is acting completely ignorant about like our plea agreements. She won't take them. She's completely in denial about like doing anything criminal. And she's basically like, I'm not going to jail, so y'all can get on my face. Basically, is how she's carried. That's basically how she's going.
Yeah. She's launching.
Stop playing.
The governor of Virginia's name is Ralph Northam. I remember when he ran for governor. All right. So he gets up there.
Shearer Northam.
Correct. He has a nice little podium. All right, the podium. Okay. Here's a podium. He has, I would say the podium, I would call it maybe a nice little, 7 by 15 foot podium. All right. So he's up there. His wife is with him. That is also important. And it's a few little reporters. Okay. So he goes into this big diatribe about blackface, about, he went to VMI, I think. He went to the military academy.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so he was talking about that. He was talking about the yearbook, and then basically doubled down with like, look, it wasn't me. However, because he wanted to get out in front, he called himself being smart, okay? I want to get out in front of something else. I did do blackface. Or no, he didn't say blackface, but he was like, I painted my face brown because I was doing a competition. I was participating in a dance competition, and I wanted to be Michael Jackson because I like Michael Jackson. And then he decides to get real loose. He's getting real comfortable at this point. I guess some people chuckled. He took that and ran with it and was like, oh, yeah, well, and actually I was a really good dancer. And guys started laughing, reporters started laughing. He was like, yeah, there was a moonwalk part of the competition that I won it, actually. I won the competition. So now he's getting wild with it. Now he's like, you know what? This press conference is going real well. Like I can see it in his mind. He was like, yo, I'm doing real good up here. I'm actually smoothing this out. So one of the reporters, who will always be my hero, I need to know who this man is. I need to know what prompted him to ask this question. Says, oh, well, you talked about you could do the moonwalk or whatever. Back then you won a competition. You think you can still dance? You think you can still do this? Sham, when I tell you, this governor looked around that platform and all the little wheels in his head and the mechanics in his head was like, I'm going to try to moonwalk on this stage. How am I going to figure this out? Okay, because he was looking around. He was looking around like, I'm going to do this right now. His wife. This is why, fellas, and I'm going to say this to myself, because there are times when we get a little wild and feel a little comfortable, you need a good, smart woman next to you sometimes to calm you down. His wife looked at that reporter and was like, that's an unprofessional question. And then looked at him like, and then not looked at him, but said to him like, no, you're not doing this. Slim, what? Do you understand that you will ruin yourself and our entire family if you do what you think you're about to do? The next 2 minutes could ruin our entire family right now. I'm going to need you to calm down. I'm going to need you to sit down.
I guarantee that in that moment, she was thinking, first of all, I'm already up here because your dumb ass done worn blackface in the past. And now you going to stand next to me and act like you about to moonwalk in front of all these people and embarrass us even further? No, thank you.
Jim,
she was at her limit.
Yeah, what I tell you right now, there's no one in the world who's ever wanted to do anything as much as he wanted to moonwalk in that moment. You could tell he was looking around. He was looking around like, yo, how could I pull this off without falling off the stage?
Oh, yeah. He was like give me some room. Give me some room.
Measuring the dimensions of the stage to make sure that he was not going to fall. And she stopped him. And one part of me loves that, respects that woman for standing up for her family. Like, yo, you're not going to take us down with you in your foolishness. But the other part was like, damn, if she wasn't there, we would have seen a show. We would have seen a show because he was ready to do it and she stopped him from doing it.
Stop playing.
So from tacky to just straight up outlandish.
Hey, listen. Yeah. This guy's a hero. If this story had been real.
Well,
is it up for debate? Keep going.
Well, I don't know. I think it is real. Because the dude was supposedly arrested for it. So there was a student in South Africa who scammed his way into getting free KFC every day for a year. He basically showed up at this one particular restaurant wearing a suit and whip out an ID card that said head office. So he would show up to this KFC, like, I guess once a week or whatever, roll up in a limousine. I didn't know that part. That was driven by one of his friends who was a part-time like limousine driver, and would just like roll up and be like, "Yo, I'm from KFC headquarters for a quality check."
Oh, that's great.
What he was checking, I don't know. Like,
that's great. That his boy. I did not know the limousine part.
Oh yeah. You got when you enact a plan, you gotta enact.
Oh, they committed to this
every detail.
Yes.
But look. I'm okay with KFC. Every once in a while, I need that original recipe and spices. But I could think of better places to scam, to be honest.
Well, look, and you see, here's the thing, though. You have to aim for the perfect shot. You aim for the place that you like, but you can't aim too high because then people will question it. You aim at just the perfect spot. Like, all right, KFC is just good enough to have a corporate board, but not quite good enough on the line staff level to question this to its full potential. If they see somebody coming out of a limo with a badge, they're just going to go ahead and roll with it. I like where their head was. Now, here's where I questioned whether it was real. KFC made a statement. Now, they could just be embarrassed. But they have completely torpedoed this story. They have said that this is not real. It'd be one thing if they said, look, yeah, you know what? We're going to prosecute this person to the fullest extent. They probably feel like Sham's giving me the look, whatever. Yeah, right. And she's right. They probably are embarrassed that their employees were so dumb on just a massive scale that they were able to get away with this for a long time, right?
A year.
Yes. And just roll around from location to location, doing quality checks. Coming out with a badge, like, I need all the chicken in here wrapped up immediately, put in boxes and put in that limo. Thanks. I'll let you know how the quality check is in a week.
So the only thing that I would say that would give away possibly if this is indeed fake is that he did it every day. I would find it impossible to be able to do that every day, because why would you need a quality check every day?
Well, did he just roll around in different places and kind of rotate?
I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking, right? So like, so to them it's like once a week.
But how many KFCs are in South Africa though that you could just do that? Like,
I know. I mean, my point is, how you eating KFC every day?
Yeah,
that's free and that much because he was getting it for free. So, like, man, he had to have a heart attack.
Yeah, the cholesterol is through the roof.
Yeah, I want to be in the room when these ideas are talked about. Like, hey, hold up, Slim, don't you drive a limo? Yo, listen, I've been working on this idea, and that was the missing piece right there. Slim, look, I got this idea right now.
Look, I hope he fed the homie.
Look, I bet he was like, hey, look, just go with me on this one tomorrow. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, that worked out.
If it worked, yeah. Yo, that worked. Yo, I would have loved that. I would have loved to be there before and after the first one. Because after a while, I probably got bored. But before and after the first one, I would have loved to be in those conversations.
Stop playing.
45. This is why I don't like him. Because there are times for theater, he makes me like him for theatrical purposes only. He had a meeting set up for infrastructure, so let's just get to it. Meeting set up for infrastructure with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. All right, we're going to set up this meeting. We're going to talk about infrastructure. I know you guys are trying to, investigate me and this and that, but let's get some stuff done. Let's get some stuff done. Set up the meeting. Nancy Pelosi, who we have talked about on this show and who also likes theater.
She's a G.
Okay, and she likes theater. See, they're playing a game. She, an hour before the meeting, says that he's guilty of a cover-up. She was asked a question about his conduct. Fine. My man gets wind of this. Completely blows his stack. All right, 45 goes crazy. He watches everything on the news that's said about him. They said, my man, let them come in the room, sit down in the meeting. The meeting is about to start. It's a very important meeting. He brings Kellyanne Conway and his daughter in. Neither one of them have been involved in any of these talks beforehand, so everybody knows immediately something's going wrong. He brings them in. They sit down. He comes in. He doesn't yell. It was said that he didn't yell, but he goes on kind of a mini little tirade. Like, look, I saw your little thing this morning. I'm not doing any deals with you while you're out here accusing me of a cover-up, accusing me of the Mueller report and this and that. So how about this? We're not doing anything. We're not working together until you end all these investigations. Says all this for about 2 or 3 minutes, goes on a diatribe, and then walks out. Walks out, right? Leaves his daughter and Kellyanne Conway in there. Here's the other tidbit I got. Kellyanne Conway sits there looking at Nancy Pelosi, and she says to Nancy Pelosi, do you have a response for the president? Nancy Pelosi says, I'll respond to the president. I don't talk to staffers.
Ooh.
Yeah. She gets up, walks out. As she's walking out, Kellyanne Conway says, that's real nice. Very pro-woman of you. Try to pull the female.
Yeah,
like she disrespected.
Wrong.
But Nancy Pelosi is like, sweetheart, like you're a staff. You're below me. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
He thought he carried me, but I got something for him. So then 45 goes on the South Lawn. Doesn't do the helicopter comment. He wasn't going nowhere. The reporters at the White House said that they were set up to be either go into the Oval Office after their meeting to ask how it was. But then all of a sudden the Secret Service and everybody's like, look, y'all need to go outside. He wants to have a conference outside. So they ushered outside. He gets outside. He got signs up everywhere talking about zero collusion, zero whatever convictions for me. Comes outside. Now this I saw live. Okay. Comes outside. I was like, look, I was supposed to have this meeting with Nancy Pelosi, whatever. An hour before this meeting, she's accusing me of doing a cover-up, whatever. I'm the least cover-upable person ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he said
cover-upable.
Like yeah, I mean, he didn't say it like that, but he basically said it like that. Like, I'm the least person that you ever known that will do a cover-up. What are you talking about? Now, Sham, here's the bar that he said that I had to say on the show because I'm sorry I laughed. He said, look, Nancy Pelosi and people like her, they don't want me to be president, okay? In 2016, they were all ramped up. They thought I was going to lose. They all took themselves to Hillary Clinton's victory party, and they thought it was going to be a party, and it turned into a wake. I'm sorry. The second he said that,
Done.
I was laughing. I was like, yo, he had the bar for you right there. He said, that turned into a wake, and I'm the president right now.
Wow.
And it's stuff like that where it's like, yo, if he wasn't the president, he'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's sad. As you said, we are the laughingstock of the whole world.
We are.
And yeah, so that's what it is. I mean, look, the president and the Speaker of the House, the two most important positions, because the vice president is not important. The two most important positions in government are name calling each other and completely will not work with each other. This is absolute gridlock. She said she'd pray for him, which, let's be honest, that's black speak for her. Like, somebody get this dude out my face right now.
Right.
That's polite church black speak for her.
I'm going to pray for you.
I'm gonna pray for you. Somebody need to pray. Then she said somebody need to have an intervention. Which, I mean, that's just disrespectful.
Stop playing.
You know what else popped up in my news feed?
What's that?
This mess about Julia Roberts playing Harriet Tubman. Now, look, I tried to scratch this from the outline before we started recording because I felt like it wasn't worth mentioning.
Yep. Y'all are family.
But yeah.
I like something you and I have done lately on the show, which is we've acknowledged when we're late or something, just from the timing of our broadcast or whatever. And if we just frankly have missed it, even if we recorded, because this was out before we recorded before, I think, even before the last one. But anyway, long story short, listeners, you guys have seen this, but we couldn't let it go unmentioned. The new Harriet Tubman movie that is out that I have not seen. Sham, have you seen it?
Nope.
Okay. I heard it's good, although it did get some mixed reviews about the actress who's playing it. I guess her background. I don't know. Whatever. We always got to find a problem with something. But anyway, what came out when the movie got released was that there was an executive in the studio, and I forget what studio is back in this movie, who thought it would be a good idea for Julia Roberts to play Harriet Tubman, who literally, Sam, here's why I'm glad we mentioned it. Here is the example that we've been waiting for when we talk about on this show all the time. Bad ideas get bandied about and someone doesn't shoot it down quickly enough. Apparently this one got shot down quickly enough in the room. Apparently, this studio executive lobbied out there to have Julia Roberts playing Harriet Tubman, and no one in that room, or at least one person that everybody probably jumped on there, was like, that's a terrible idea. You're not allowed to speak again in this meeting. Talk about because she's a good actress. Excuse me?
I get Jamal was in the room and was like, nah, that's not going to fly, bro.
Yeah, now if there was a Jamal in that room, then that executive was really tripping. Because I fully expected there to be nothing but white people in this room when it was talked about. But maybe Jamal wasn't there. He was like, kind of like Kamala Harris. I'm standing right here.
Right. So the executive's name was never really disclosed.
No, it wasn't.
But
got lucky.
Like, he just was kind of like, yeah, this dummy said that Julia Roberts should play it because she's a great actress, and everybody in the room was just looking at him like, you dumb fool.
Right.
But they said that happened a long time ago. So I don't know what the timeline was and when this was suggested. But yeah, nah, that ain't cool.
Yeah, that ain't cool. And you make a good point, by the way, and then we'll move on. How has this person's name not been released? He's skating on that.
Yeah.
Because if the story got leaked, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night like, man, I wait for the other shoe to drop and somebody to put my name out there. Because he better pray that his name never gets released. Because that might be one of the worst ideas I've ever heard in film. Julia Roberts, Sam? Anyway, I just have to mention it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
she's a great actress, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to need her to stay in her lane.
No, yeah. And hopefully, for what I've seen of Julia Roberts, she would go down within this part. She'd be like, is this a prank? Get out of here.
Yeah, she wouldn't even do it. But what's funny to me was like, I'm always here for the comments at the bottom of these articles. And somebody was like, well, I mean, black people do it all the time. They play white people. Like, now they got a black person playing a Little Mermaid and they want Idris Elba to be James Bond. First of all, these are fictional characters. These aren't real people.
Harriet Tubman was a real person who fought slavery. You could have oh God.
Like in real life.
In real life. Like, there's not a black person in the world who's proposing that a black person portrayed like George Washington.
Oh, and they said, well, the cast of Hamilton was all black. It's like, oh God, here we go.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. Because that was a period piece, not a musical.
Right.
Yeah, that's a biopic, right? Yeah. Hamilton. Yeah, you're right. How dare those black people portray Hamilton? We know he was running around making rhymes while he was, helping the founding fathers. Good gracious.
Yeah.
I'm also here for Black Twitter because we seized on this and started doing the memes of all types of black people being portrayed by white people.
Those were hilarious. I was proud of Black Twitter on that one.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
Listen, All I'm going to say is this about all the candidates in general. At minimum, the crowd was better. There was
except
a protest.
when Uncle Joe was up there.
That was awkward.
I was like, what are they even saying?
Here's the problem.
I didn't understand a word they were saying.
You know what I liked about 44 amongst a just litany of things about Barack Obama? You heckle him, either he goes one of two ways. Either he shuts you down, or most of the time he'd be like, everybody be quiet. What is the person saying? Let me hear what they gotta say. Okay, here's my response. And then like get him out of here. But like but he was very gracious with hecklers. Mm-hmm. I feel like to an extent you have to be like, you're trying to be the president. That is the prime example of free speech. Just because it's disruptive to this sort of formal event. And I was the first one on here like, look, they need to get crowds out of the debate, period. If you're going to have them there, you got to take the full shebang. That's free speech. Everybody, especially Uncle Joe, looked like he would have rather been anywhere else than there when that was happening.
His face went like
that's totally. A prime opportunity. He could have made a joke. Mm-hmm. He could have did anything. He didn't know what to do in that moment.
No.
How you going to expect to be president of the United States and you don't know how to handle yourself when a protest is happening while you're speaking? Like that's, and I hate to, use cliche. That's about as American as it gets, but it is. Oh, so you just going to wait till security comes in and gets them out of here before you answer a question about how you going to be president? Sounds a lot like China to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody get these protesters out of here so we can talk about how I'm taking over this country. Like, that's a dictatorship. That's not a democracy. And I feel like he missed a prime opportunity in that moment.
Stop playing.
Daryl Morey threw a grenade into the NBA and then disappeared.
I'm surprised he still has a job after this.
I am too. And David Silver, that was what he tried to manage, because what he didn't want it to look like politically here was that Daryl Morey was fired for free speech. But here's the problem. You work for a company, I work for a company. If our company is doing business with another entity, whether it be another company or a country or whatever, and we then go on social media and put our views out there, we could get fired for that, for endangering the business. Absolutely. That's not free speech. People can take this free speech thing. I know I talked about it last week during the debates. Correct. I was talking about the freedom to speak at an event without being in prison. That's different from being fired.
Right. And I love Charlamagne. He says this all the time. He's like, yeah, you have freedom of speech, but freedom of speech can also come with consequences. So Correct. Speak as freely as you like, but that don't mean you may not lose your job, or B, get popped in the mouth. So
right. People always talk about the founding fathers this, the founding fathers that. The founding fathers, look, if somebody were to come into the founding fathers while they were sitting there trying to draft the Declaration of Independence, whatever, they'd be like, somebody get these people out of here so we can like, somebody get these people out of here so we can finish. Now, they don't got to go to jail. They don't got to go to jail, but like, get them out of here. Right. And if one of them works for me, like, you're fired. Like, whatever. Like, people don't understand like what they say when they're saying stuff like this. It's stupid. It's ridiculous.
Stop playing.
One editing note that I've been meaning to do, and I feel like now's the appropriate time to do it.
Yeah. You mean not the character from 90210? Not him? Is that what
a few episodes ago now, I think 3 episodes ago, I went on a rant, a very educated, researched rant about the NBA's problems over in China and all the stuff that happened in the preseason. And I called the commissioner of the NBA, David Silver, I think I counted 5 times. And as Sham just pointed out, David Silver was none other than Brian Austin Green on 90210's character. The commissioner of the NBA is named Adam Silver. We both knew that. I'm not throwing Sham under the bus because, it was a good segment. But if anyone was listening for 2 seconds, they were distracted by the fact that I called that man David Silver quite a few times. Yeah, in talking about him, I was literally, it wasn't even like he was off reference. He was the subject of the rant.
Facts.
So yeah, no, I'm fully aware that the commissioner of the NBA is named Adam Silver.
Stop playing.
So, but what they're going to do with this version of He-Man is they're going to focus on the unresolved storylines.
Okay.
So it's going to be more of a continuation than starting over.
So what they better do is pull up all the old He-Mans, because I don't know what storylines are unresolved.
Right. And I said that with a straight face too. Like I was really.
Yeah, I was like, so where can I find the old He-Mans? Because I'm sitting there as a little kid throwing my He-Man toys around. I don't know what storylines are unresolved. That sounds entirely too complicated. I mean, he fought Skeletor, correct? Like, I thought he beat Skeletor. What's going on? They're unresolved storylines in He-Man.
You're right.
They need to send me a written summary, and I will read it. I promise. And I bet you everybody in my age group will be like, okay. If I need to read this to get prepared, then that's fine. Or go ahead and get all the old He-Man episodes out of the can and run a little special, and I will watch them so that I can get the apparently complex plot lines.
But what they
Castle Grayskull.
What they should do though is just throw the old episodes on Netflix.
You have to,
so people can start watching them. But yeah, they're saying this version is going to be a little darker than the previous.
Yo,
one.
listen, He-Man was not for play.
It was not for play.
Skeletor is scary.
Yeah,
that's not kid friendly.
We talked about the movie Masters of the Universe before we came on, and that was much darker than the cartoon.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, Skeletor was cruddy in that. He was killing people and stuff. Like, look, He-Man, the thing I like about our cartoons when we were growing up, they prepared us for the world. It was a lot going on in our cartoons.
Stop playing. Michael
Avenatti has now been caught up in a sting. I mean, it was a sting operation. He thought that he had some leverage on Nike for paying for play for amateur athletes. Okay, which is kind of like saying I have leverage on a drug dealer for dealing drugs. Everyone knew that anyway. They caught him on the phone. So the Nike executives who he was representing an amateur athletics coach or something like that. That's his client. And the client was getting caught up in this whole, sort of tug of war with themselves and Nike and an amateur athlete. So he calls the Nike executives and tells them that he will expose all the money that they've paid to all the amateur athletes, and that he will do it on the eve of their shareholders meeting and the NCAA tournament, all these big sort of benchmark dates for Nike, and that when he exposes this, it will cost them billions of dollars and billions of dollars in shares and all that. First of all, I thought Michael Avenatti was smarter than that. Nobody cares that Nike is paying amateur athletes.
And we all knew.
Yeah, we all knew that. Number one. Number two, they caught you on the phone saying this. Literally, I have a picture in my mind, but it sounds like when I read the story, they said 2 Nike executives were on the phone and an FBI agent was listening on that. I have a picture of them all sharing one big landline, listening. I mean, but it may not have been that simple, but it certainly sounds that simple.
But how you gonna do a shakedown on the phone?
He was doing a shakedown on the phone. Now, morally, I don't have a problem with this. I don't feel sorry for Nike, and I don't think he should go to jail behind this. But it is illegal. This is extortion.
He's facing 100 years for this.
Yeah. Here's the best part of this story, and by best I mean worse. But hey, look, I'm savage on everybody. I'm savage on people I like. They interviewed that man the other day. He said point blank, "I am scared to go to jail." Like he is looking down the barrel of this situation. He said, I do not want to go to jail. I am scared.
Stop playing.
So this came as a shock to me. I mean, you sent it to me, but then I started seeing it throughout my news feed. Like everybody's really pumped about this. Mahershala Ali, two-time Academy Award winner, will be replacing Wesley Snipes as the next Blade.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't have ever thought of it until somebody put the image in front of me.
Oh,
it works. It makes perfect sense.
The second I saw the name next to it, I was like, oh, nope, that'll work.
Yeah. Like no one's mad here.
Yeah, no disrespect to Wesley. He did great, man. But you in too much trouble, man. That's part of your problem right there. Like, you need to pay them taxes up and stop playing.
Yeah, but, he unreliable. He might not even make it through the whole film.
Man. I feel like the IRS could come on set at any moment. Just go ahead and clap them cuffs on you and get out there. We ass out.
Right.
Listen, the best part about this, other than the actual casting, is the way he got the part.
Yeah.
That's boss.
That is very boss.
So you were able to read that?
Yeah, I read it. So basically he kind of hit up Kevin Feige, who, I love me some Kevin Feige because he has made the MCU what it is, and everything he touches is awesome. So he hits up Kevin Feige and he's like, yo, if Mahershala Ali calls and says he wants to be Blade, then you just do it.
You do it. My man, no agent, no whatever. I mean, he probably has an agent, but no intermediaries. Hey, listen, man. First of all, I would have loved to have been in the room.
When that phone call came through?
Yeah, Kevin. Because he probably was like in a meeting or something. Mahershala Ali's on the phone. That's a prank. No, he's for real on the phone. He wants to talk to you. Okay. Because they love what they've been saying the same thing about Keanu Reeves. Like, they want people to do these movies. They want people in the MCU. I believe Kevin Feige might have been the same guy who was like, yo, we've been begging Keanu Reeves to like come do a movie. Mm-hmm. So when these famous people call, he probably was like, all right, look, I'm going to go ahead and take it seriously. Put him on. He's like, this is, yes, it's Mahershala Ali. How you doing, man? Listen, I want Blade.
Wait, what? You want to be Blade?
We
already got Wesley.
We got Wes. Listen, you and I both know Wes is in trouble. Okay.
I'm a two-time Oscar winner.
Yeah. I saw. It'd be funny if he was like, "Look, man, I saw Wes at a party last week. That situation is not getting better anytime soon between me and you. So you might want to go ahead and let's just keep this conversation between us." He probably mad at Kevin right now, like, "Hey, man, you ain't supposed to tell them I called you."
But what about Wesley's Snipes, though? How mad is
it? It makes me look like a boss, but Wesley probably was like, you know what? I told that Negro I was having problems, and he would buy my back and call the studio. That's why you can't tell N-words nothing.
Should have never gave y'all N-words money.
Yeah. And me and was having a drink. He asked me about how Playin was going and all that. I told him I was going to get out of this and then I could work in the studio. He probably was like, oh, so you got the studio on hold right now? What, 3 months shooting on hold? All right, cool. Hey, look, good luck with that situation, man. Look at the time. I got to go.
Like, you know what, man, I wouldn't be a good friend if I didn't give you the time to focus on getting your life together. So let me just go ahead and do this for you.
Yeah. Hey, man, look, you know what? I'll do the one Blade just, so the project don't get held up. But they probably going to want you back, though, after that. Yeah. Oh, you hold it down for me, for real? Yeah, no problem. people don't care about me. They want Wesley Snipes to do it.
But
the fact that he called him and was like, "No, put me in the movie. We gotta bait the movie." He said, "When he calls, we do it." That's great.
Stop playing.
So moving on to our last story, which kind of like we threw this in because it kind of hit like right after we made our outline for this show, for this episode, I mean. And this is somebody that I've caped for right. so strongly. Like anybody who's been listening since season 1, I hate every cornerback on the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean,
but I would give like a kidney to get Patrick Peterson on the team, and this guy just broke my heart. And like Shaka just said in our pre-production meeting, like you dodged the bullet.
Yeah. Now, as I said that, now when I think about it, though, I think you still would be willing, even knowing this right now and knowing what would happen. If Jalen Mills was on that team, if somebody came to you in September of 2018 and said, all right, here's what's going to happen. You can either have Jalen Mills for the whole 2018, or you can have Patrick Peterson after like October, whatever the trade deadline was. And you can have him for like 8 games, and then he's going to get suspended. And then you'll be in the unknown. You'll be like, sign me up for that, and I'll figure out the quarter situation. Yeah.
I'll take him in week 8 this season.
Yeah. How many games is he spent? 8? Oh, yeah. We'll make do. Can't be any worse than what we got.
Yeah. So look, guys, we're talking about Patrick Peterson, cornerback for the Arizona Cardinals. He was suspended last week for violating the NFL's PED policy. And you told me something funny beforehand about his reaction to it all.
This is so classic. So here's the world. You know, this is the I'm not. We talked about backwards logic, and so the first person that came to mind was Ray Caruth when I thought about when we talked about backwards logic. Here's the Patrick Peterson logic of how this should be played out. As Sham just said, he's been suspended for PEDs, meaning he will get those 8 games without pay.
6, it looks like.
6.
Yeah.
Oh, did he appeal?
The article I just pulled up says 6. Okay. Yeah.
So Patrick Peterson is upset. Why is he upset? Because Arizona did not rework his contract. Because apparently the way his contract is structured this season, most of the money is front loaded to the first half of the season, whatever. So he's mad that they didn't then, in light of his suspension, rework that so that the money could be backloaded, so to speak. So he's mad. So essentially what he's saying is, y'all could save me some money if y'all just move my contract structure because I'm getting deducted game checks, so really I'm being cost money. And the team's logic is, well, that probably, because we probably front-loaded your contract structurally for our benefit, salary cap or whatever, because we got deadlines to beat for salary cap. So why would we move this around? He's like, well, move it around because, like, I'm on the team and I'm your best player, basically. Slim. So let's get this straight. You decide to take PEDs, you get punished, you get a fine, and you want us to move our whole world around to make your life easier? And you get mad when we don't do it? First of all, you got nerve to even ask us to do it. You're taking PEDs. We should, if you weren't who you were, we should cut you.
Yeah.
If you weren't who you were. So, but now you're taking it, if you weren't who you were, all further, like, not only are you not cutting me, but, like, hook this up. I mean, damn. I'm surprised he asked him to pay it. Hey, yo, pay the fine. Like, hey, stop playing with me. I'm the best player on the team. I'm the best player on the team. Why am I even paying this? I'm taking PED. I'm surprised he like, yo, I'm taking PEDs because we're such a terrible team, and I have to like do something to, you know, keep us afloat. That's basically what he's saying. But he is legit mad. He went on social media and called them snakes for not doing this.
Wow.
Yeah, that was beyond the fact that Patrick Peterson is an excellent cornerback, and it made me very sad to hear this.
Yeah, because he doesn't have this kind of reputation.
Nah.
You don't hear a peep out of him.
I mean, Patrick Peterson, listen, Shan, I don't think I've ever said this on the show, but I think it's probably kind of obvious just the way I talk, especially about like Charles Wilson. Corner is like my favorite football position. And my favorite players have been corners, like Charles Wilson. I mean, I'm a Raider, Nnamdi Asomugha, whatever. I know you have your own thoughts about Nnamdi.
I mean, he should just get burnt.
I mean, right, on the Eagles. But not for the record. But in all seriousness, Revis even. I can appreciate. I love good cornerback play. It is something that is rare. I remember when corners were getting paid damn near as much as quarterbacks. And Patrick Peterson was one of those few that still was like, man, every year he's just coming out, he's doing his thing. When this story came out, Patrick Peterson is like one of I don't know, maybe 10 less than that players who made the Pro Bowl in his first 8 seasons in the NFL. Point blank. It's literally less than both fingers on your hands players who've done that. So he had established
without question, right now he's the best corner in the league.
Right. And
there's no argument.
He established a great reputation. And look, who knows what PEDs do in the NFL? Honestly, this is baseball. But the fact is, if it's not, why'd you feel the need to do it? And they got him for 6 because, I apologize. You're right. I knew you.
It was more at first.
It not only was it more, but he got more than you normally would get for the first one because not only did they get him for the PEDs, they got him for masking. So you get 2 for having a masking agent. Dang. And you get X amount more. So he got 2 more than you would have gotten.
Because he was trying to hide it. Dang, did he Wizenate?
It sounded like he did. Yo, somebody actually did tell me. I think he had a Wizardator.
Wow.
Yeah, Pat P. Stop playing.
Good old Mike Tyson, the Vikings. The Wizardator.
The Wizardator. Yeah. On that note.
Look, before we move, do you know after that whole incident happened with the boat and the Mike Tyson folks and the Wizardator?
What was the boat called? The fun boat?
I forgot.
Whatever. Yeah.
So when that all happened, I was working a night job, and I was listening to Mike and Mike in the morning, and I was like, ooh, let me Google this Wizardator.
You Googled it?
I Googled it.
Wow.
It's fascinating. It comes in all different skin tones.
Were you at work?
Yeah.
Because it's not safe for work.
I was at work. But I mean, it wasn't porn. It was.
Well, I got you.
It was a site that sells Wizardator. And I was like, man, they are so on. You could literally they look so lifelike.
What have we talked about? There's a market for everything.
Everything. Various shades. You can match your skin tone to the Wizardator. But yeah, so on that note, thank you for listening to this best of edition of the Stop Playin podcast. Again, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playin podcast and also on Twitter at stop_playing_pod. You can subscribe to us on Castbox, SoundCloud, Podbay, Overcast, iTunes, Google, you name it, we are there. So thanks again for listening and
stop playing.